What's good, YouTube? It's your boy JusticeXFalls. We're back at it again with another video. And today we're looking at Alan Wake. So apparently, Remedy gave some industry insiders, some of these publications, media outlets, a chance to play a behind closed door demo for 30 minutes. We got to see some gameplay. It was about 5 minutes of actual, well, a little bit less than 5 minutes of actual gameplay, but like 5 minutes of like a trailer with some gameplay in it. And this is a part of it here. There's still, but I guess they're gonna describe what they saw in the entire demo, and we're gonna listen along and speculate I guess speculate what's gonna be in it. So let's see. So, without further ado, let's get to the video.
Live on a PlayStation 5, and
we're here at Summer Game Fest, and we just saw Alan Wake 2 behind closed doors. Ryan, what's your main takeaway from this demo?
30-minute demo. Yeah. It's being played live on a PlayStation 5, and I think, Destin, this is my favorite thing that I've seen here so far. I mean, we've seen some good stuff, don't get me wrong, but I personally love Alan Wake. It's one of my favorite original games from the Xbox 360 era, one of the great new IPs back then. It was always such a shame we never got the sequel. And now, improbably, we finally are. And, honestly, it looks great. I mean, it looks like a next-gen game, number one. Yes. And they're using their own in-house tech, which Remedy always has. The faces look amazing. The environments look amazing. And it's, it's tough to get any sense for the sort of scary, the horror side of it when you're in a, a well-lit room with lots of other people. But hearing the same voice actor for Alan Wake again, and they have James McCaffrey, no relation, he's appears in all their games. He's voicing one of the other detectives, and so there's the familiar, there's the comforting sense of the familiar, but this is absolutely a new game. If you played Alan Wake 1, that was a third-person action adventure game. This is a third-person survival horror game, much sort of slower. The camera's pulled in tighter than it was with the first game, and it's the pace is slower in a creepy way. There's the investigative work that you're doing, piecing together the case and what's going on.
Yeah, you kind of go into your character's mind space, or whatever they called it, and you solve the case throughout that process. It's really an interesting system.
Yeah, and it feels like, I know a 30-minute demo is tough to get a great sense, but it seems like it's going to be a big game. Not 60-hour kind of thing, but bigger than the first one, put it that way.
Yeah, this game, you could already tell off the rip, it has its own vibe to it. I like the way he explained it, where the first one was a third-person action adventure game, and then this one is a survival horror game. That's two different things. If if you're familiar with those two genres, you know the difference between the two just by hearing him say it. And I kind of got that vibe from watching it at the Summer Games Fest, which you can watch the stream. My reaction to it on this channel. You click on my channel. It's the first video right at the top, and you can just scrub through and see and go to the Alan Wake part if you want to.
Where I was talking to Sam Lake, I did an interview with him behind closed doors afterwards, and he said, yes, this is the biggest game we've ever made. Players expect, I asked him, well, what's the biggest thing, the biggest difference for player expectations now with Alan Wake 2 compared to Alan Wake 1 13 years ago? And they said, it's a 6-hour linear game that's not really replayable doesn't cut it anymore for people that are spending $60 on a game. So this is
You're damn right.
They say it's their biggest game yet. What that means hour-wise, who knows, but I just was really impressed top to bottom. I know you got to see it too. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, they tried to talk down how good it looks. They're this is an early build. It's a beta, and then they show it. And I'm this looks great. What are you talking about? So really impressed by the visual aspects of it. They are still polishing a few things within the game engine, but it's definitely a mood piece when you're playing it. You have to go in with the mindset that you're solving a mystery, and it's a little slower pace for a lot of the investigative portion.
Right.
But then
I don't mind that.
Of course, the action segments kind of are sparse throughout with sort of visions that hint towards the solution to the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed how they sort of stitched it all together, all those different design goals. Right?
And on that note too, one thing I thought was really interesting is, so there are 2 campaigns that you can bounce back and forth.
Really?
There's Saga.
Oh yeah, he mentioned that. They mentioned that.
Is kind of it sort of embodying the player in that either like me, you played Alan Wake, but it's been so long you don't remember, and so she's like, she's new to all this, she's learning about all of it, or she's embodying the players that didn't play Alan Wake 1 and just sort of like learning about all of this just like new players are.
Yeah.
But they said...
I remember, I forget who they had come on stage, but during the Summer Games Fest presentation, he said you don't have to have played 1 to be able to play 2. Like 2 is kind of its own thing. 1 was its own story, and then 2 is its own story, but it's obviously all in the same universe of Alan Wake.
You can bounce back and forth.
There was some crossover with that game, Control, which was, I didn't really understand that. I don't know. Somebody could explain that if y'all can, but I mean, these 2 games are their own experience, and I kind of like that.
Between the 2 of them, mission-wise, Alan is in the dark place, which, if you finished Alan Wake 1, it doesn't end well necessarily for Alan. Or you can play as Saga, but they said it's not a scripted set thing. You don't just do one, then go back to the other. You can do like 3 Alan missions and then go back to Saga. So I'm curious how the player freedom aspect of that, how that's going to gel with the narrative of trying to, like, if you just decide to power through all of the Alan Wake side of it, how's that going to make sense in the story when you come back to the Saga side and you're like still really early on with her? But so that's one thing I'm really...
Unless it's on some shit where it's like, on some shit where it's like, both stories are their own thing, and you're just playing it from a different perspective, and you still are gonna link up with the other character, like you saw in that sequence right there, like you saw in that cutscene right there. But unless you play the other story, you're not gonna know how they met at that point in the game, if that makes any sense. I think it's gonna work out. I think we might be overthinking it a little bit, but I think it'll be fine. I think it'll work out.
Really curious about.
It was also really interesting that they said they've been working on it for 13 years, and within the demo that we saw, Alan Wake's been out of commission for that exact period of time. I like that, though, because as a player, if you're a big Alan Wake fan, you're coming back to this game, and Alan Wake has been in the same state of stasis as you have.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, they're not just picking up like a year later. Like they've actually allowed for the same passage of time that us as players are experiencing as well.
So overall, pretty excited about it?
I really, truly am. Like this thing, I mean, this fall is going to be busy, right? I mean, there's a ton of big games coming out this fall, and there's a ton of big games out now. Alan Wake 2 is really high on my list. Like I said, of all the great stuff here, it's been my favorite thing so far. We still have one more day to go after today, but yeah, it looks great, and if it's not on your radar, I recommend you get it on your radar.
Well, thank you for your insight, Ryan, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see more on Alan Wake, you're already in the right place. IGN.
Now, as far as, you know what I liken this to? I liken this to Bleach, because you know how Bleach kind of had an ending? It ended with, after the Ryzen fight, and there was a time, of a long time of peace, where in this there was a long time of unknown, because the first game ended how it ended, and it didn't really end good, so you just suspended in that reality. And then now with Bleach, you have the 1,000-Year Blood War, which is the final arc and ends the story of Bleach. And then this is Alan Wake 2, the continuation of the story from the first game. But there's such a large gap in between that you don't really, and the story is so well contained within itself, same thing with 1,000-Year Blood War, that you don't even really have to watch beginning. Like me, I watched all of Bleach, and if you see these trailers, or if you on my channel and they get suggested to you, and you see me talking about 1,000 Year Blood War, I feel like you could watch that and then not really feel like you missed out that much, even though you missed a hell of a lot. You know, because it's its own thing. It's self-contained. So just like this Alan Wake 2, I think it's its own thing. It's self-contained, but it's still in the world, and it still follows, and it still continues the original story. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it makes sense in my head. I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. If you do, let me know. So I'm looking forward to this game. I have Alan Wake remastered on my PS5. I'm definitely gonna play through that before this game comes out. I think it comes out in October. Did they say October that this game's coming out? Yeah, October 17th. So like a couple weeks before Halloween. So Halloween is going to be dope. It's going to be a lot of people streaming. It's going to be a lot of spooky vibes out there. There's a lot of other spooky games coming out around that time, and it's going to be lit. I told the end of this year is going to be lit. Hopefully by the end of this year we hit that 1,000. We on the road to 1,000. We've got 599 as of the making of this video. Hopefully we touch 600. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this game. Is it on your radar? Is it not? Have you not even played Alan Wake 1? Let me know what you think. So y'all already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. One.